meeting in order. We'll get started on our second this afternoon. Always got an agenda in front of you. We're going to sign up and talk about that and after we get through the agenda. So first of all, let's go through the agenda and talk about our issues. First item, Tommy.
Yes, so the first item is recommended for rezoning to M1 by the Planning Commission.
Okay. This
No
is
That's
it.
in mind. What do they intend to do with that?
Sell it.
Huh?
Sell it.
They just think it sells better with them one?
Well, it's been used that way. It was outside
Pretty
the
much all
zoning
that.
ordinance
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it
pretty
brought it in and it never was rezoned.
Okay, I'm good with that, Charlie.
Okay, good deal. All right, item number two.
Two.
We got several. Go ahead, Tommy.
It was, Planning Commission failed to make a recommendation that it's required.
They had four
Five
votes,
votes,
didn't
had
they?
4 in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 refused.
So they didn't have enough. They had to have 5 votes to make it.
You got
So
5
the majority of the
votes to
votes
pass the motion.
voted for it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, property owner appealed it to the council.
Okay, because the majority of the council of the planning commission was there that day, voted for it.
They had
And the other didn't.
7 presidents.
7 present, 4 voted for it. Okay. Very good. Okay. All right.
So it takes 5 votes to.
Take 5 votes there to do it. Okay. It was just short of vote. Okay.
Is it unprecedented? Is there a precedent for sending something or remanding something back to the planning commission?
We've done it before.
Send back a rezone, because
It's gonna eventually land back in the lap of the
Yeah.
council, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
right back
made.
down.
Okay, it's going up here.
But it would, but if it landed back, when it landed back, it would land back with
A recommendation, right?
rather than
No
no
recommendation.
recommendation.
But to me, it's a recommendation because there's four majority spoke president.
4 and 2.
Were there any objections prior to the vote at planning commission?
Yes. There were, people present from both sides.
But from the planning and the fire department, and the police,
Oh, no,
those,
no objection there.
No.
Well, we've all been loaded up with information, and we've got plenty of information, know all who said what about what, who liked it, who don't. I don't think we need any more explanations on that, we got all that back. So this is your district, we'll have a public hearing at the regular meeting. I'll allow 5 minutes per side in the meeting. And everybody else will be able to talk, but we'll have 5 minutes to speak positive or against the item, and we'll do that at our 4 o'clock meeting. Our meeting today is a very important meeting because we're opening the time capsule this afternoon. It's the anniversary, the centennial, so we'll be pushing for that in the slide this afternoon too. So that's what we'll do. Okay. Anybody got more questions?
I do just look, no, just, when you said 5 minutes, this is gonna be 5 minutes.
per side.
Per side.
I know, so it's only one person will
One
speak?
person per side.
Okay.
5 persons.
Can we do representative 4 and then maybe people stand behind them?
That's be fine.
They're
Be fine.
4
Anybody
and
stand
then-
up, I just want.
So 5 minutes per side.
5
And
minutes
so why
per
would you
side.
change it from 3 to 5? What,
Well, we do 3 on the, after the meetings.
Mhm.
On this situation like this, you can have more, but you have to, the chair will limit it to 5.
Can I just have a show of hands? Can you raise your hand if you're here in regards to 1616 South Perry?
Okay.
That's the reason.
All right, that's good. We know. We got all your data.
So y'all pick our spokesperson.
Yeah, they got you good. In 5 minutes.
If
Okay.
it is the public hearing, cannot.
Public hearing is at 4 o'clock,
Okay.
not now.
Yes, but are you going to limit the public hearing to 5 minutes?
I am.
Is
10 minutes
that-
total, 5 per side.
5 per
Is
side.
that kosher?
Oh, yes. Done this several
Like
times.
word.
We found out,
Go ahead.
I'll just tell you the rest of the story. We found out in 5 minutes you can tell us everything you're gonna tell us, and everybody's gonna tell the same thing over and over and over. So we don't wanna hear it more than one time. We've already read it, so we don't need all that extra information. Okay? We got a long agenda to get through, so we're going to get through our agenda, okay? Okay. Next item, number 3.
This is the lease on Union Station, and just to mention, Mayor Reed, one of the presidential candidates, is in town, and that's where he is right now, meeting with him, so he's gonna be a little bit late. But we went over the lease, and we're very comfortable with the lease, with the exception, the only area that we're not completely satisfied with is the length of time that city investigations can stay in the building, and unfortunately, Ms. Buckaloo has been out sick the last 2 days, so she and I finally got a chance to talk today, and what I'd like to request you do is to carry this over for 2 weeks, and let me have a chance to sit down, or us to sit with Anna a little bit and talk about the future for the city investigations. The rest of the terms of the lease, Mr. Crabb and I met with Mayor Reed, and we're comfortable with that.
Item number 4, we've got the same issue, the finance director and the mayor and the chief of staff all have problems with not understanding the program, so we're gonna carry that over 2 weeks for some additional time for them to digest. Item number 4 will be carried over today. I'll see them. All right, now you're going to number 5. Number 5, 6, and 7. CC? You're
Yeah, I spoke with all 3 of those people.
Okay,
I've
here
asked
is
me,
the
so
substitute that you're in at the meeting.
they gonna- they'll do this thing.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah. All right, number 8. Matt, can you tell us about number 8?
It's just
You got it, Kim?
we just got it from, a request from WOW to, I mean, I think their franchise has been just going, continuing. I mean, it's not been renewed. I think it's a couple years older than it should have been, but it's just, it's the same terms as what we've had before with WOW. It's
Okay.
10-year franchise.
So we have no problem with going ahead and approving this today?
And I checked with Bruce out there too. He looked over it, so.
Okay, council, you got any questions?
Same percentage rate.
Yeah, everything's the same. I mean, part of the issue, and I don't know if that's gonna, if it's gonna affect it or not, but I know y'all, we had some issues with the FCC, and they're trying to limit any, you know, a lot of times we've asked for extras on top of the franchise fee and things like that. And the FCC passed an order, I guess in August of last year, or 2 years ago maybe, that anything you ask for extra is considered in that amount. So I think they're still meeting and going back and forth, and Lou may be able to tell y'all more, but it's,
No, they're still deliberating on it, because the main point is, and they want to come through with it is that the percentage is what it is, and if you get any other favors like free fiber or this or that, it comes off that 5%, so you don't get the full 5%, you get something less than that because of the value that they provided in some other way. So it's in our best interest at this point to get the full 5%, because they're not going to be adding fiber where we need it anyway. At this point.
Is 5% a arbitrary number, or is that a locked-in forever number?
Well, it's a number for the term of the agreement, and that's what the agreements have been all along, is 5%.
but I think 5% is all we can have under the law.
That's what I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
That's
so.
okay.
That's for all cable.
All in favor? Okay, I'll come to this. Any more questions? Okay, we'll move on. Item number 9. Yeah, it's okay, you got your, electrical,
Yes, sir. Every 3 years, we'll go through an adoption process. This is particular to the electrical code. And, so moving forward, our chief electrical inspector will be fielding any questions in relation to the changes within that. If y'all need any information, and certainly Mr. Doyle Storms can provide that information.
Gary, does this impact development very much? I know the last one really had a pretty stiff impact on fees.
No, sir.
Well,
The fees with this will remain the same, and, really it just becomes moving out of the 2017 National Electrical Code into the 2020. Before we fully move into it, there'll be a sit down with the electrical contractors, and so it'll be a seamless move.
So, good.
Number 10,
That's actually the electrical code. You'll adopt number 9, setting the hearing, and number 10 will be carried over for adoption after the public hearing.
number 11. Or this inspection fees, okay, now, we're doing something on inspection fees now?
No, sir, we're not doing anything different, it was just, we're wanting it all to be one transition. The
Okay.
fees are not changing.
All of it comes together one order, okay? That's 12 also?
Yes.
Public hearing on January 7th on this one, okay? 13. Matt, you know about this?
See, Chris.
Hey, Chris, Mr. President, before we move on those fees, are those fees in the public hearing gonna be public for the public to know that they're parallel, same from 17 to 20? Anybody know?
Gary? Scott, one last question.
Ms. Blaylock, will that show up in there exactly as the fees, or is it just on our website from our last?
We will once the resolution is adopted, by law, we have to advertise that
30 days.
resolution that shows what those fees are.
Okay.
So that, I think that will.
Thank you. 13.
13, 14, just engineering is Patrick, I know Chris is here, is Patrick back there? She called me. We'll come back to those two.
I think those programs have been in place for a while. We had the provision for them in the budget to pay our share of it.
Do we pay for this? Come back. All right, 15.
15 paid in full, so
Pay it for it. Withdraw it. 16.
16 paid in full, so withdraw.
Wow, that's good. All right, 17. Reliable transportation service, we'll have them up to the council at that time. 18 is the gas depot. Have a public hearing on that. Off this, who's this one? There, yeah, 18.
Is that you, Bob?
It's on tag, yes, you do.
Yes.
Right there next to the farm market.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been on the agenda multiple times, or is this the first time?
First
This is
time.
the first one, but we've had it before.
No, they have to put it out there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a hearing, this is the,
Change the ownership.
Yeah.
fine with it.
You good? Then, we got the emergency management, emergency communication district, the mayor has to be appointed that. The new mayor has to be appointed that. And on 20, we've got, demolition. And then you got your abatement, Charles? Yeah.
Rosehill Park. What are you talking about, Rosehill Park?
What's the story on that?
I was by there today, because I was looking at some other things. That thing is so grown up and so horrible, that I don't think we should do any more papers until we put that on this code on this.
Something needs to happen.
There's some legal things that also being done now. Have you received any?
There's a letter from the attorney.
Has the city received any communication from one of the local law firms?
Yeah. So, Jim,
Well,
Yes.
that local law firm doesn't necessarily write to me. And so,
Well, we've all received
That
that.
was-
I have heard that there's something circulating.
2 weeks ago, we received something.
Well, let me comment, this is Road Court Apartments, and Mr. Larkin is correct, that we have gotten some communication. Jerry, why don't you come comment on Road Court? Jerry and I have been talking about that. And before he speaks, it's listed, it's under contract for sale, has been now for a year or longer, waiting on some tax credits for a low-income senior housing project. So that's all I know from the commercial real estate arena.
So there's some promises out there for some future development of this. Certainly if we're talking about the bushes and the shrubs, then our ordinances do not address the bushes and shrubs, they address weeds and grass.
It also addresses broke out windows, leaking roofs,
And
everything
certainly,
else.
and, Mr. Thomas Carr has been putting together some information. He's not quite through with that, as Mac and I talked, I believe it was last week, and putting some stuff together to provide information, back to Mac and to the council in relation to what we can do moving forward if the deal falls through, or what we're gonna do in the short.
I don't think we should be waiting on the deal. We've been waiting on the deal for years.
Understood.
The sign just says pending,
Okay.
so let's do what we're supposed to do. If we're gonna do it on everybody else, we gotta start tackling these that are down in our own jurisdiction.
Yes, yeah.
It's such an eyesore coming, and leaving the city is such an eyesore. We need to address it, period.
There's some issues related to historical,
Some of the National Register.
You know what? Not with the broken out windows and everything else, it's not.
It's on the national, but research has provided that we can address with it being on that national register, it may affect, tax credits for those.
Yeah, I understand all that, but the point is, it's just been lingering all these years, and some odd reason it just never happens.
well, they pay the taxes. They pay the property taxes, the taxes are current.
If they don't board it up, clean it up, we need to abate, period. That's what we say we're gonna do, we need to do that.
What have we got, is it structural sound?
The structure is,
The doors are
No, I just don't know what we'll be enforcing on it, is what I'm asking. What are you-
When you board the windows up, you board the doors up.
Well, you have to go top arms is in the same,
Well, I thought you were saying.
Thank you,
on
Dick.
the
Talk about all that.
they did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we got to go in.
Hey, Jerry, before you leave, since we're talking about that, what about the governor's house hotel? Where are we at with contracts or the state?
it will cost $450,000 to tear it up if you leave the foundations there before you get to the asbestos.
$450,000.
If
Who
you
owns
leave
it?
the foundations there.
No, the group out of South Florida that has purchased it.
Okay.
And there's a tax lien from the state of Alabama to the tune of $200,000 on the property. And my understanding is they're trying to negotiate with the state of Alabama.
Okay, yeah, you did give me a sample.
Yeah.
All right, that's right. Thank you.
They say they're gonna do something.
So it's like giving us a lien.
Secure house on fire because they'll have to block it. Yes, when the weather gets cold.
It's wide open.
At one time, we looked at taking it over to the city, and then get rid of it, to waive.
Okay, we got, do you want to talk to us?
Chris Conway just came in.
Yeah, come, let Chris come talk to us about
13,
13, 14.
You're welcome.
Who did?
13 and 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the city entered into a cooperative agreement with the State Finance Authority to redo the lighting around the Capitol, make it LED and the decorative type fixture that's on Dexter Avenue and all around downtown. So you notice down Bainbridge and Monroe, it's like wooden poles with just standard lighting. So there was a cooperative agreement. This is basically just the council needs to approve that relationship. So it's a TAP grant, Transportation Alternative Program. So it's a, like I say, it's a cooperative agreement. State Finance Authority's paying 10%, we're paying 10%, and 80% of it's federal.
Very good, thank you. Anybody, more questions there? Corley Moore, Falls Youth League. Corley Moore, Falls Youth League. Amy Capps, Service Dogs.
Good
McGowan. I'm the executive director and founder of Service Dogs Alabama, and we train service dogs for veterans and children, but we also train facility intervention dogs for the state of Alabama. We have a contract with the Department of Education to supply these dogs, but we have to do, they give us seed money for the dogs, but we also have to raise the remaining funds ourselves in order to place them in the schools for free. They're trained to detect anxiety in children and stop disruptive behaviors. So they are scent trained, body language trained, and intuitive trained. So they make a huge difference in the schools where they are. They have incredible statistics that we've collected about higher reading levels, higher math scores, and 0 disciplinaries and 0 office referrals over a period of years. So they're very successful. So we need to figure out, our headquarters are located just outside of the city limits of Montgomery, but we have applications for facilities inside the city limits of Montgomery, Sunshine Center, Lead Academy, some of the,
and early childhood development with some of the preschools.
yeah, so, and expecting 2 more. So we just need to figure out how to get some additional funding so that we can place these dogs for free in the schools.
Okay.
We're currently seeking funding for 2, for here in Montgomery Public Schools.
2 animals?
Right.
2 dogs currently.
And they're not in schools right
Is
now.
that, how much are those dogs each?
$30,000 per dog, so we're looking at $15,000, which would be a 25% match on the 2. And then we do receive some money from the Department of Education, and we're going to be obviously going towards the county commission as well, for whatever we get from the city council, have the county commission try and match that.
The city council, let me tell you the story. Each council member has their own decision on where they spend the money. So not approved money, it's each person. So they'll all look at this and give you a decision.
Okay.
Where are some of the locations that you have the dogs at now? Are they working with you in Alabama? What school systems do you have?
Yes. We have 26 placed all around Alabama right now, and we have a waiting list of 24 dogs waiting for.
But down in Montgomery, right?
No, they're waiting for their dogs. We have a year to a year and a half waiting list.
The closest we do have is, we have Elmore County, and you'll see it from the form I gave you on the front page there, that is the study we did with the Elmore County school system in our pilot program. So there's dogs in every single school there, and then we also have, the next closest would be Pine Level with the Talbot County school system. So we're waiting to be able to place some here locally.
And it'll be 2 years before Montgomery.
We breed them. You know, they're bred. We breed for health issues so that they're gonna have a long working life. We breed specific breeds, and we breed for specific characteristics, good noses, temperaments, and their ability to be able to communicate with humans and bond with them. So since we breed them, then before their inception, they're already placed. They gotta wait for us to train them, and we don't place dogs until they've been in full-time training for 2 years.
Which is about 3,600 hours.
Yeah, and we have 60 dogs in training at all times, so we don't want our waiting list to get over 30 per year.
So your training center is down in Fort Cole?
Yeah, comes in. It's amazing.
So if we move forward with this and actually could raise the money, how soon would the dogs go to the school system?
We're almost a year away. Some of them are closer than you are. Some of them are, like the Sunshine Center is closer, is closer than preschool. They applied for 2 dogs. So we have one in in Montgomery in the Department of Police. So it stays there, and it's the ambassador to the schools with
What about
the
Child
Alabama
Protect?
Police. I mean the Montgomery Police
Do you
Department.
deal with Child Protect?
We don't deal. We have dealt with Child Protect, but presently we don't have them on our waiting list.
They have dogs too. I'm not sure where they get them from, but yeah,
They use therapy dogs that come in, you know, just for a visit for an hour. But facility dogs stay in that facility all day long. They work 40-hour weeks. So they're fully trained in public access and all the tasks that they need to intervene and intercept disruptive behaviors.
I'm interested in knowing what would be the protocol or the process for how they intervene and for disruptive behaviors in a school. How do they do
You
that?
need to go watch one work. That's all I can say. Our dogs even go across the hall to seek out a specific child. A lot of them are scent trained, so they can smell escalating adrenaline and cortisol levels, and they recognize body language. That's how we train them, associate the body language with the scent. And they will go and find the child who is agitated or depressed or needs help that day, and they will either lie down on their feet or put their head in their lap. Sometimes if the child is escalating in behaviors, he can recognize twitching or any kind of aggressive language, and he'll go to that child and nudge. He does what's called a sequence of alerts for, it's trained just like a PTSD dog. They're really trained for trauma intervention. So he will go and first nudge. If he can't get their attention, he'll escalate, put his paws in their lap, put his head down in his lap, lay on his feet, all kinds of things to redirect his thoughts to him and disrupt that behavior. And it is actually brain science, because if it's done enough in a meaningful way, then it changes the way the brain is wired. So it has sustainable impact.
And then the way that is able to sustain is obviously the handler is well trained in addition to the dog. So when the dog is doing its job, the handler can do their job and reinforce that behavior. So even when the dog is not in the room, it might be across the hall or down the hall with another classroom, that teacher is able to reinforce that behavior with those students. So the whole class is not disrupted.
That's correct. It's a non-conflict way of intervention.
My next question, have you made this presentation with the Montgomery Public School System?
They're a partner with ours. They're already funding us. They've been funding us for years now. We work with Dr. Langham, the assistant superintendent, Ethan Taylor over there. Sean Stevens is the head of counseling. We go speak everywhere to schools and with them.
I'm talking about Montgomery School.
Oh, Montgomery schools. We have not made a presentation with the Montgomery County schools. I did about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and they weren't interested. And in fact, I went with Dr. Langham, and no one, they've had superintendent problems too. So this was like 1 or 2 superintendent attendants ago. But they do know about us. They are aware. It's just a matter of the school being interested in having a dog in that school, finding the guardian who is willing to be trained and handle the dog, and then placing it in that school. So it's more of an individual school process because the state has approved everything. So,
and they do help with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, do I? Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Enright. How's everybody today? First thing I want you to see is this picture. Children with disabilities will be at our event this year. This is going to be huge. And of course, we're expecting the mayor and his family. I want each one of you all to take one and tell me what you see on the front page, on the front cover. We've got to get children to believe that they've been chosen. From the time that they were conceived in the mother's womb, they were chosen for greatness. And this is what we do at our event on Super Bowling on Super Bowl Sunday. But I brought something else just in case you all may have forgotten that the Super Bowling event on Super Bowl Sunday is just not a one-day event. We work year-round. This is the bare cost of what it would take to have our event, which is right about $5,000. Nevertheless, we work with the young people that come out to the event all year long. That is why our budget is 4 times the cost of this one event, because we work with the kids throughout the year. It's not just a one-time event, and that's huge. Now, I gave you this magazine so that you can do what I've done, and that is I've been studying the Camellia Bowl, and their people for the last 2 years. And millions go into that. Listen carefully now, please. To watch 22 guys on the field. Thousands of people are in the stand watching 22 guys at one time on the field. But with the Super Bowling on Super Bowl Sunday, guess what happens? Everybody in the family bowls, and that's important. They're getting involved. And everyone has to learn the pledge at the event. When they come in, they may not know it, but when they leave, they're going to know it. And the pledge is very simple. I pledge allegiance to a new star. And from the bottom of my heart, I am going to think big every day and every way. And we spent a lot of time doing that. St. James United Methodist Church had 22 of their young people come out a couple of years ago, and they worked with the kids and the people to learn the pledge, because people act out of their subconscious. And if you can get the powerful truth inside of their subconscious, guess what? It will produce good and favorable results. So early on in October, just as the new fiscal year began, I told you all it's a new football season. But I'm here to tell you now that it's only 3 games left in the football season, and it's almost time for the Super Bowl. And if you can make your commitment today, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. James Lovejoy. James Lovejoy. Graham got a question.
Mr. President, can I ask Mr. Gilliard a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you operating at the schools or with the schools? You said this is a all year round process, so I know we're talking about this bowling, but what is going on all year round? How are you pulling children? Where are they coming from?
I work with the children at the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club.
In Chillum or where's Montgomery?
On Crenshaw Drive.
Okay, where's Montgomery?
Yes, that's right.
So you pull children from over there?
Well, no, I work that particular site
Okay.
on a regular basis.
Okay.
And of course, I get calls from all over the city to do my Think Big process. And wherever I get calls from, that's where I go.
Okay.
How you doing, City Council? Great. My name is Brother Lovejoy, James Lovejoy, and this is Brother Robert Thomas. We're from Omega Psi Phi Incorporated. We are a graduate chapter here in Montgomery, and we're over the youth mentoring program. And the folders that you're going to get, I know you have enough paper as it is and whatnot. We just want to give you at least 5 minutes. That's 300 seconds. Between the two of us, you're looking at 20 years, 10 months, and 18 days. U.S. Army, and you're looking at 26 years retired Marines, but I won't hold that against you. Again, our youth mentoring program, if you look, there's SPARKS. The SPARKS stands for Scholarship People Always Rise and Keep Soaring. Our young men are from the ages of 14 through 18 years old here in Montgomery Public Schools, and some in the private schools. You have a folder there you can thumb through out in the calendar. The calendar that you have is what we have been doing over the last 4 or 5 years, the 5 years. And we had some of these young men within the 4 years, from freshmen all the way to seniors now. They're very productive in the community. We're very proud of them, and we want you to know about these young men, because they are our tomorrow. Excuse me. And we have 5 seniors that will be graduating this year. Now, out of those 5, we want to do something different, such as make sure that they have their passport. That's about $800 right there, just for them having a passport. So by the time they graduate, as you know, passport is good for 10 years. That's a bullet on their resume. What makes them different from everybody else? Because of the things that we prepare them for. Being retired military, we know that we have looked at a lot of resumes and whatnot. We want to pick out the things that make them different. And this is how we teach them at an early age. We've been talking about the programs that you have here in Montgomery, but we're productive. We've been behind the scenes. We've been working with the YMCA. We've been canvassing for Mayor Reed, and we have been very instrumental in the city. We want to also thank Councilman Jenwright, for supporting us. I sent this email out to most of the, to all the council. So, we have the email there. You can look at us. We're a 501c3 non-profit organization. The proceeds that we get from this calendar that you see are going towards us taking them to, Washington, D.C. and Howard University. I have 25 on the book. And we can take them during the spring break. We can take them down to Tampa, Florida for our 2-year conclave that we have, that we're preparing them for the Youth Leadership Conference. Our young men are very active. We have a 3.7 GPA overall. Our lowest is 2.9. Our young men are doing great things, and we want you to know about the Spark. This is a beautiful color, purple and gold. As you can tell, don't we look good? You come here, again, our young men are doing that as well. We have the communities such as the locker room that just got done with their measurements and whatnot, because a lot of them never got their measurements. We call it suited and booted. These young men are in black pants, black jacket, white shirt, black tie, and they definitely are respectful. We teach them to be great. Why are they great? Because they're generous, they're respectful, they're educated, they're articulate, and they're tenacious. Thank you, Council.
Thank y'all.
You forgot about me.
Oh, that's the Marine. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Forget my counterpart, gentlemen and lady. These young men also currently, the president of this organization, Omega Sparks, they are also involved in, like you said, in the city and throughout. One of them is vice president of the junior FBLA. One of them has also in the magnet program in the schools. We go and we visit their schools. Primarily, they just won overall state competition in the William Trumbauer Festival for Drama Theater. We also just received this morning an email from headquarters of our beloved organization that says, excuse me, greetings, Brother James Lovejoy, my brother Robert Thomas, chapter chairman. I hope all is well with you, my brothers, as we enter into the new 2019-2020 fraternal year. Serving as the 7th District Chairman, Fatherhood Initiative and Youth Mentorship Committee, I would like to commend you and the Sigma Phi chapter for your commitment with the Project Manhood Initiative as noted. Project Manhood, Part Initiative, and Youth Mentorship is a top priority under the leadership of the 41st Grand Bosses, Dr. David Marion. For the upcoming issue of the Future International Mentoring Conference and the 7th District Newsletter, I have the task of selecting featuring youth mentoring programs throughout the 7th District to kick off the 2019-2020 fraternal year. In recognition of your chapter's observed commitment in the area of youth mentorship, the Sigma Phi chapter has been selected as one of 16 7th District local chapters to be considered for the upcoming International FMIC newsletter. Please submit the following requirements on behalf of your youth mentorship program as listed below. Again, I thank you both for your continued commitment, and I'm looking forward to monitoring your great work for the 2019-2020 year.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you. I understand Colleen Moore is here. Colleen Moore. Boss, you please. Boss,
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Corleen St. Cyr Moore, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of the organization called Boss Youth League. My program teaches the fundamentals of basketball and also entrepreneurship. We use basketball as a vehicle to introduce and teach the kids within our program these principles. And so I wanted to go ahead and introduce myself as well as our program to you all. We don't want to ask for anything, we just wanted to introduce. Now, we were going to have the kids here, but with it being an hour ahead, we'll be able to bring the kids within our program next time. And so, our program, we've been able, did you want to see it? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. We've been able to assist, since 2011,
over 1,500 kids within our program. We are a 501c3 organization. We teach kids, life principles, how to make it in life. If a job don't hire you, how to be able to work hard and establish your own business and be able to employ those around you and family. In order for you to be in our program, you have to denounce all negative activities, such as gang-related things or anything that will bring you down. So you don't need to be the best athlete, you don't need to be the smartest, but when you get in our program, you will become confident in doing the right things and being positive and being a positive influence. We focus on the kids being good people that even if they don't employ others by being entrepreneurs, they'll have that leadership quality within themselves to be able to lead others in doing the right thing. Thus far, we've traveled to Miami, New Orleans, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta. We've taken the kids all these different places where they were able to be exposed to a diverse places where they saw different businesses and they were able to meet professional athletes. As you go through your brochures, they've met Deontay Wilder and he punched and they saw how hard, and I'm telling you that's the hardest punch I've ever heard in my life. And so I knew that it was an experience for them. They also they went to the Lorraine Motel where Dr. King was assassinated. Been to Miami, Florida, and met the cast members of First 48. So we've taken them all these places, and it was a purpose, and there's something that they can take for the rest of their lives. And with these trips, it helps change them in their viewpoint on how they carry on. Even though you may be in this financial situation, you can come out of it. And a lot of the kids that maintain and stay within those situations, they don't see better or they're not exposed to it. And so we give them that opportunity. And they don't have to be rich. We do our best to raise funds for them in order for them to get these trips, get the uniform, and feel like they belong in the program. And so I just wanted to introduce myself in the program. But what I do ask is everybody, could you please like us on Facebook, on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay updated on everything we do. And we want you to be a part of what we're trying to do for the whole community.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
I have a question. Where are y'all? Are you in Montgomery?
Yes, we're in Montgomery and Selma. We just did a Building Bridges Through Boss, where just like you marched from Montgomery to Selma, we played from Montgomery to Selma. We allowed the young adults between the ages of 19 to 30 to take part in being in that. And so to show camaraderie and showing that we can be positive. We just did that in August, and it was very successful.
So what do you practice when you're here?
We practice on Tuesday. As a matter of fact, we got practice today. Once a week on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5.
What building?
At Sheridan Heights.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
May I ask also, because I'm familiar with your program, you were at one time looking for a permanent facility, and you're practicing at the Sheridan Heights Community Center, but it is a city-owned community center, and you were looking for an opportunity to have a facility of your own, as I recall.
Yes, sir.
Are you making any progress there?
We're trying every day.
And we're looking for, hopefully, the city of Montgomery can help supporting their effort, because we don't have problems getting the kids. It's just having a facility where they can come and be in an environment where it be conducive for them to grow. Because we have the programs, and it's not hard for us to get youth, because there are tons out there that are trying to look for something positive and get out of negativity. They just need another avenue. Even though we appreciate all the other programs that are doing things as well, but we're just one that's trying to, add to the positivity of the community.
And that's your number on here, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's all my contact information, as well as my husband, who's the other co-founder. I'm sorry, I just got to the point of that. But yeah, my husband right here, he's the other co-founder of our organization. We've been in existence for about 8 years.
I'd rather have her forget to introduce me than me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Monique Davis, James Farrell Williams Foundation.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Normally I don't read off the paper, but today is just one of those emotional days for me. You are already familiar with me. I'm Monique Davis. I'm the founder of the Jamari Terrell Williams Foundation. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to even raise awareness about bullying and suicide. My 10-year-old son Jamari lost his life by suicide due to bullying. We created this foundation so we can bring awareness, because if I would have known 2 years ago that our suicide rate ranked number 10 in Alabama and it's number 2 in the United States, I would have spoke with my son about the issues he was dealing with. So with our foundation, we are nonprofit 501c3, and we go around to different schools. I do anyway. I travel all over Alabama. I've been to Bessemer, Baldwin County, Selma. I go everywhere out of my own pocket just to tell Jamari's story, because I feel the more awareness I bring, the more we can put an end to this suicide. I have children that call me constantly. I also speak here in Montgomery. When I tell Jamari's story, the school system here allows me to come in and tell his story. And when I tell his story, if you all only knew how many children have attempted in this week alone, in this past week alone. So I get those children, and they are part of our foundation. We just participated in the Thanksgiving Day parade, and they all created bulletin boards about bullying. So we try to create that positive message. This year, we're doing it again, our Christmas event, where we give out toys. As we know, Christmas is a depressing time for homes. So we try to provide toys, not only toys, thermals and scarves and hats, and just different needs that the community may need. So our motto is, it's okay to be different. So we try to provide the community with information, educational information, to recognize those signs of bullying and suicide tendencies. So I'm asking the council, if possible, if they can help again this year. As you can see, we adopted Highland Avenue School last year with the help of Councilman Larkin. And we're just asking, again, if you all can help in any way, we would definitely appreciate it. We're just trying to just promote that parent-child interaction, because that's important. So I feel the more knowledge the community has, the more we can teach our children to uplift each other and not tear each other down. Thank you.
Give me some, wait. What's some dollar amount? Give me some dollars. I always have a number. I'm with Fred Bell, now he would say that. Tell me what you're asking for.
I'm just asking for whatever you all can give. And the reason why I say that, because with that, everything comes out of my pocket, because I'm gonna make sure they're gonna have it. I'm just asking for a little help. I have Dr. Teddy Atlas, ESPN boxing commentator. He helps from New York. And he just had his head writer from Law and Order SUV wrote an article about my son, told Jamari's story. So I have other avenues, but I wanted the city of Montgomery. I just wanted to include you all and see if you all can help in any way.
Tell me last year what you spent when you did the Dr. School. How much did it cost to do that one school? We know you're trying to do bigger and better, but how much did it cost to do one school?
We had so many children from Highland Avenue. I can't
Don't
remember how much.
exact, the roundabout.
For the whole thing, because we don't just do the Christmas drive, we do teen summits. I rent buildings from Luther's Community Center. So every time I rent a building or I'm traveling somewhere, that roundabout figure, we spent about $3,000 to $4,000, and half of it came out of my pocket. And I do this because at the end of the day, some of these kids have to deal with going home to a cold house. I don't want them to do Christmas it's not about gifts, but I want these kids to know that it's okay. And some of them are dealing with certain issues. And you got to think, I lead by example. So when we do these events, we try to bring mom and dad and the kids together to show them that when you interact with your kids, it makes a difference. So that's why I do this. I tell my son's story so other parents don't have to go through the tragedy that I have to live with every day of my life. So this is why I do it. This what gives me hope. This what keeps me going on a daily basis, telling his story and giving back to the community. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. We don't have no executive session this afternoon, so anybody has anything else to discuss? Meeting adjourned. We can meet at 4 o'clock.